Hello students, welcome to this Frames 5 video tutorial on bricks part 3. Please open your bricks file from Frames 5 from your application screen. So remember what we've done so far. We've charted the course or the path of the ball in two directions. One path downwards to rebound off the paddle and one path upwards to head towards the bricks. We left our animation at this point where the ball is about to strike one of the bricks. Okay, so make sure your onion skin is on. From the View pull down menu, make sure the onion skin is on. Okay, all right, make sure that nothing is selected, and let's duplicate the frame. Now, we're going to move the ball into position where it strikes or makes contact with that first brick. Now, don't worry about keeping a consistent overlap. It is more important to show the contact with that brick. Okay, now this is a very important frame. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to decide what direction the ball will go after it strikes this brick. Well, I think it's only natural that it would, number one, rebound downwards and to the right. It's probably not going to rebound back towards the left, is it? All right, so let's go to the shape menu and let's choose our arrow. Let's reduce the width. Okay, so from the center of the ball, I want you to decide what path it's going to go downwards. And I want you to draw that arrow to the right edge of the frame. Okay. All right, so in your timeline, what we're going to do is we're going to go back and erase this path or this arrowhead. So find the frame in your timeline where that arrow starts. And let's go back and delete them all. So click on it and delete. Again, just take your time. Make sure you don't delete anything else by accident. Make sure you don't move anything by accident. All right. Okay. So now I'm at this point where I've erased the second arrow, and now I'm going to start working on the next arrow. Okay, so I want to make sure that nothing is selected, and I'm going to hit duplicate. Okay, so we're going to do two things in this frame. The first thing is we're going to move the ball down the third path now, making sure it's centered on the arrowhead and making sure I've got that consistent overlap. Also, I want to make sure that this brick disappears. So we're going to try something a little bit different and we're going to see if we like it. So I want you to click on that brick that has been hit. And then on the right hand panel, I want you to click on Animate. So let's animate. And then on the far right hand side of the panel, I want you to hit Edit. Now under Path, it may be defaulted to line. So what I want you to do is I want you to set the path as none. We're going to leave loop as once. We're going to leave all of this. And under fade, I want you to choose fade out. Now if you want to have a look at what it's going to do, you can click preview, and then when you click preview, I want you to keep your eyes on this brick. And what it's going to do is it's just going to fade out. It's going to disappear. And that's what happens in the bricks game. Now, some bricks games, they have the brick kind of explode into different pieces, but we're just going to have it fade out. All right, so if you like that effect, click go back. Now, don't be alarmed that if it's still here. Remember, we have our onion skin on. That's why. All right, so let's click go back. Okay. All right, so let's deselect. Now let's duplicate. Now, what you have to remember is, in this frame, this brick has to disappear. So let's click on it and hit delete. Okay, now it's gone. All right, so let's continue the motion of the ball down the third path. Okay, let's deselect and duplicate. Let's continue the path. You must be getting very good at this by now. Deselect and duplicate. You should be getting closer to the wall the more frames that you create. Deselect and duplicate. All right, so I'm getting pretty close to the wall here. So I'm going to deselect and duplicate, and in the next frame, I'm going to make contact with the right edge of the frame. And again, don't worry if your overlap is not consistent. It's more important that you show the contact with the edge of the frame. Okay? All right. So let's deselect and duplicate. Okay, so now I think you could kind of predict what's going to happen. We're going to choose a path for this rebound, for this ball to come off the side wall and head downwards. So let's click on the shape tool. Let's click on the arrowhead. Let's reduce the size of the width. And let's choose a spot in the center of the ball. And then I want you to choose an angle downwards. So I'm going to choose an angle downwards this way. Okay, so that's the path, the new path of the ball. So let's deselect and let's go up to the top left-hand corner and save. All right, so now if you remember the steps, we have to go back to this frame here where it shows this path, the third arrowhead. And then what you need to do is you need to go in and delete all of those arrowheads in all of the frames. All right, so I want to keep this arrowhead in because that's my new path. Okay. All right. So what we haven't done in a while is we haven't previewed what we've done so far. So let's go up to View. Let's turn off the onion skin. Let's save it. In the timeline, I want you to go all the way back to frame 1, and then let's click play. Now don't worry about how slow the ball is moving. We're going to fix that right now. What you want to do is you want to be looking for a smooth movement of the ball. Make sure it's traveling in straight lines. Do you see the fade out of that brick? That looked pretty good. Okay, so let's do a couple of things before we move on. So let's click on frame 1. Okay. And then using your slider, go all the way to the end of your timeline. Hold the shift key in the bottom left-hand corner, hold the shift key and click on the last frame. So remember this trick? What that's done is it's highlighted all the frames between the first frame and the last frame. All right, so let's change the timing to 0.2 seconds. I changed it from 0.5 to 0.2 by simply highlighting the 0.5 and typing over it 0.2 and hitting enter. All right. So let's deselect by just clicking anywhere in the timeline here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide all the way to the beginning and click on frame 1. Now what we've done is by changing the duration, we've made the time that each frame is shown to be much shorter. So the animation will move much more quickly. All right, so let's see how it's changed. Let's click play. So you should see that that ball is moving much more quickly, much more natural to the game, and we have the good fade out. Okay, so we've got kind of all of the main kind of fundamental portions of the game and the techniques. So we're going to add one more thing. I want you to find the frame where the ball hits that brick. Okay, so look for it in your timeline. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a little sound effect here, and I hope it's going to work. In the past, on some computers it's worked fine, and on others it hasn't worked. So let's try at least so that you know how to do it. Okay, so remember we're on the frame where the ball hits that first brick. All right, in the right-hand panel, this time I want you to click on the Library tab. So click on Library, and then in the window here, I want you to double-click on Sounds. I want you to scroll down and look for the file folder called Sound Effects. So what we want is, we want a really short sound effect, because remember, every frame only lasts 0.2 seconds. And we're also looking for, I found in the past, that only the WAV files work properly. So if you want to preview what the sound effect sounds like, you click on it, and then if it's a WAV file, you'll get this little triangle here, and you can play it just to preview it. So the anvil is a really good one because it's very short. Bleep is a little bit long. Bonk we've used in the past. Okay, bonk works very well. And boing is a little bit long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose anvil. Okay, but again, I want you to pause and take the time to preview the ones that sound interesting. Again, I found that only the WAV files work, W-A-V. Okay? So once you've chosen the sound effect that you want to enter, I want you to click on it. And this time, instead of clicking the blue triangle in the bottom right-hand corner, you're going to click this green arrowhead in the bottom right-hand corner. So if you click on it, then you'll see it appear in the timeline at the bottom. Okay, it should be right here. Now the anvil sound effect actually lasts 0.322 seconds. So we're going to see how that works in our animation. So let's save. And I want you to use the slider and go all the way to the left. Click on frame 1. And I want you to watch your animation, this time listening for the timing of that sound effect. Okay, it worked pretty good. Okay, so we've added sound now. All right. So let's click on frame 1. Okay. All right. I want you to click duplicate. Now remember, we've clicked on frame 1. I want you to click duplicate. Okay, so what we've done is we've duplicated frame 1. Now you'll see that in the timeline, frame 2 is highlighted because we duplicated frame 1. So now I want you to click on frame 1. Okay, this is going to be our title page. So on the right panel, I want you to click on Tools. And then I want you to click on the text tool here. Okay? All right, so let's double click in here. And we're going to type this title. Bricks Mechanics. Mechanics just simply means how something works. All right, so we're going to highlight it. I want you to choose an appropriate font, something that's easy to read, but something that looks very cool. I always choose Calibri. Then I want you to click bold. Okay. And then I want you to increase the size of that title. Make it quite large. Now, choose a font color that's going to stand out. Okay? And if you want to look at it, you have to click outside of the text box. And then if you want to move its position, then simply click outside of the text box, click on the text box, and then you can move it around. Okay? So that's my title. Now, because the title page has text on it, we have to allow the audience or whoever's playing the game or watching the animation to be able to read that title. So what we have to do is we have to change the duration from 0.2 seconds in the bottom right-hand corner. Let's highlight it and change it to 3. Not 0.3, but 3. 3 seconds. And then hit Enter. Okay? All right, let's go up and save. Okay, so let's see how now our animation looks with the title page. What you should notice is that title page hangs on a little bit longer, and that's the whole point. It is a title page. Okay, so what I want you to do for the rest of the animation is I want you to continue on with these techniques. I want you to continue moving the ball down this fourth path. Make sure you move the paddle so that it hits the ball, and then maybe have the ball bounce up into the second layer here, or the second level. Okay, you can have as many bumps as you can, but what I want you to do is at the end of your animation, I want you to have a game over screen where the paddle misses the ball and the ball falls down the bottom of the frame, and then I want you to display a screen at the end that says game over. Okay, so I hope you have fun with this. Make it look as realistic as you can. Take your time with it, okay? Make it a long animation. Have maybe 2 or 3 more paddle hits to it. Okay? So this concludes this animation project on bricks. Please save your work and call Mr. Ueda over to show him your completed animation. Thanks for watching. Bye.